Good morning, good morning. This is day 2 of the never-ending campaign to expose potential government corruption unless I get a reply, really. Because what is the government always telling us? There's a few things, isn't there? There's like jobs. Okay, check. This solves jobs. What else have we got? We've got climate change and that, and economy, exports, products. We've got road safety. Check. This addresses a lot of road safety issues. Defence. There's a really viable defence mechanism to what I'm talking about. It's basically the perfect pitch. Because it's taken me a long time. And for some reason, I've had to fight my own government in order to produce concepts like this. It has no interest in actually doing any of the things it fucking says it's going to do. Sorry for the swear word, by the way. But remember, I'm not a politician. I'm doing a lot of work in very hostile conditions to fix a lot of problems all at once. And I'm not even getting the benefit of a reply, ever. There's no reply, because you all know that once you reply, you have to acknowledge the whole thing. Now, we're not talking about what just happened. We don't need to. We're not talking about any of it. We're talking about what's about to happen now. I'm quite happy to put that whole period behind me, because if it happens again, I know how to deal with it. So I'm not going to drag that up every time there's a discussion. This is right now. This is a viable pitch. You should be bending over backwards. If I was an Indian billionaire, you would be. If I was a Chinese billionaire, you would be. But it doesn't take money. It takes thought, it takes know-how, it takes local knowledge, and it takes a dedication to the place where you live. Something that the government should, again, be bending over backwards to do anything it can do to assist me in getting this over the line. The fact that this is always noted to two newspapers, the Governor-General, sometimes to the Army, to the Navy, to wherever it is, sometimes to the King, sometimes to the President of the United States, is to show that China is treating this fucking place here like they're the fucking landlord. And I don't like that at all. I don't like it one bit. And so this daily, in all different types of ways, will be coming onto a Labor representative's desk until they acknowledge it. And they give me a reason as to why there is no response. Because if there isn't a response to me, someone who's spent 10 years researching, developing voluntarily in order to come up with strategies like this, to understand the entire marketplace to do that, then what hope in hell does some teenager in the suburbs that's Australian have in this system? It doesn't have anything, because they don't want you to do anything. They want you to stay in a little box, jump in a metal tube, jump up in a truck, dig some fucking holes, and come back home and pay tax. That's it. And they'll benefit from the lovely roads and infrastructure and train lines and all this stuff, while China basically swallows the whole thing. Why is there not an answer? You've built a system of utter corruption. Not a system that has corruption. A system of utter corruption. And day by day, I'm going to etch a sketch, I'm going to colour in, I'm going to show everyone the picture of how corrupt and filthy our government is. And if I don't get an answer, I'll just start doing it. I will go and pick a stretch of road and I'll see how long exactly I can start fixing these 10 fucking problems before I get a letter that says I'm not allowed to fix those problems. because of rah, 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 rah. That doesn't fit the Chinese Communist Party's long-term vision for Belt and Road Initiative, does it? Well, I don't give a shit because I didn't vote for Chinese Communist Party's Belt and Road Initiative in my country. And it hasn't benefited me one bit. In fact, it has only limited me. We own these roads here. These initiatives that I'm speaking of will make the journey between the city and regional areas far safer, which will mean that people will commute if they need to, but they don't need to because there's no need to commute anywhere because nothing happens in the city that can't happen anywhere else. This, in any other period of time, would have been a large, beautiful product. You'd be celebrating. You'd be saying, "Oh my God, we have this initiative. We have this supply chain. We have this beautiful relationship with the country that birthed us." But you can't do it because you can't fall to that. Now that is not a government. Because basically, like, it looks like you're sitting in government in a hierarchy, in a system that was built not by you, and that the only people you can't do a deal with is the exact people that built the whole thing. A continuity. That is the enemy of this government because you are fixated on a republic. You are fixated on independence, but it's not independence. It's Chinese fucking overlordship. So stop. Or it's United States overlordship, which we've actually already have, and that's what we have to admit. For some reason, some politicians 40 years ago decided to hand over basically all our rights to the United States of America to protect us. Well, I don't remember the United States really ever fucking protecting us in that period, and actually it seems like they've just attacked us for that entire period in 7,000 different ways. Now, there's a few wonderful places in America that have allowed this. So I'm not talking about the entire population of the United States. And the same when I mention China in a negative light. I'm not talking about the entire population of China. I'm talking about closed, select interest corruption in the international sphere. And basically, the way I'm going to undo that is if we're having conflict in the Middle East, if that's going to potentially affect fuel, then I'm going to produce fuel here. An alternative fuel supply that is quick, that is sustainable, that is regenerative, that adds 7 other applications to its industrial chain. And so whether it's the United Kingdom Army or Navy coming here in order to help me do this, to control a supply chain of fuel from here to there, or whether it's the Australian in reverse to go up there, it's in the interest of those two defence systems to go together and to protect my setup of this industrial chain. Now, if I add in the domestic supply, so this will 100% cover domestic heating for Western Australia because we don't need that much. So there we go. Produces road safety. Again, will have a great effect on groundwater tables, which will decrease salinity. It acts as a corridor for wildlife. And there is a million reasons why this is good. It actually works as a security barrier for the Defence Force as well. These are the things that should have been done. Instead, we built a giant Whitford's car park and stuck houses in it. And there is no stability or security. That's why I call it Wallaberland. I'm quite happy for Wallaberland to say, listen, yes, you're right, Shannon. We buggered the whole thing up. We'll just manage the Wallaberland, which is, as I've said, from Two Rocks to Baldivis and to Midland, say, I don't know. And then you just control that flatland there. And you make it into Tokyo. Whatever you want to do, I don't give a shit. But that is not how the rest of the state is going to develop. And it's definitely not going to become little fucking Beijing. There's not going to be backdoor entrances for Chinese people to sneak people into the areas where no one's looking and set shit up. Because we have 4 countries that have all been united together to work with these things. And there's a lot of people that want to have those opportunities. This is an avenue for them to do it. They might even be able to work and do in this industry because it's literally on the roads. It will stabilise the actual roads. It will make them safer and more easily, like in long term. The more you work on these avenues, the better they will be and the less maintenance they need. And as I said, this will be daily. Every single day, you're going to get this. You're going to get 7 other things as well. I will pitch to whoever it is I need to in order to expose the fact that this government is full of shit. Where's my car rater? Where is it? Where's my license being restored? Why am I having to check all the water levels, all these things, before I expose any of my money to risk in this environment? While you claim that we're in a stable system. Look how much trouble it's caused me to question one foreign pharmaceutical interest in this country. So why does it come to this? If there's any, observers, is anyone starting to see why I've had an issue and non-stop been on this? Because I have a unique perspective and I can see what's actually going on. Now, whoever I need to go and ally with, which I would like to be the West Australian government, of course, that's my first point of call, but whoever I have to ally with to get this over the line, to supply this fuel source to Europe, that is who I will do business with. And I don't care who the fuck gets in my way, they will be put down. Not violently. They will be exposed for their corruption, for their incompetence, and they will be left in the fucking wake of time. The world is changing a lot, and it's not just changing one way. It is changing both ways at the same time. The skill set it will take to do big fucking moves like this is not the 70s when Kerry and Twiggy and Gina were riding around doing all this stuff. If that was the case, I'd already be over the line. But I need this to be listened to now. I need this to become a cooperative effort. We need to put the past behind us and know that the lessons that have been learnt by the different cohorts involved will be presented. If there is a repeat of this, that will be a far different thing. Do not expect that you learnt anything about this previous pandemic on how you can use things like that in order to gain control, because you won't get that. If you start a pandemic again, there will be buildings that will fucking explode. There will be roads that will be put down. There will be bridges that will be dismantled straight away. Because that's what you've done. If you lock us in our homes, we will lock down your infrastructure. We will put your airports into fucking absolute shutdown. However we need to. I don't care if I go and do one thing and you fucking put me down in the street. That will send a message as to what is expected by actual patriots in this country if this shit is tried again. This WHO nonsense is going to be put in the garbage bin. There is no system on planet Earth that has the best interest for every single person in mind, and it never will. The pure fact that anyone could have either intervened into that supply chain and put fucking poisons in there. See, it doesn't have to be nefarious from the top. You could say these were the cutting edge vaccines. They were really good. They were 99%. But then somebody did a switcheroo halfway in the distribution because that was an easy way to neutralise a large portion of the population. It's not safe. It never has been. So there will be no distribution of stuff that's going to be put into people. If the police are involved in putting anything in people, then lots of things will be involved in putting things in the police. You blew up the whole fucking the whole gambit. The whole thing is done. And it should keep going. The ongoing effect should be massive. Where'd you get that cooked chicken from? Oh, the guy there, he gets it from there. Okay, cool, yeah. That's the paradigm we're going into. This mass distribution, we are all ready to do with AI, to do with the technologies involved, to do with this distribution, to do with our the current moment. Just out of statistical analysis, there will be individuals that are psychotic that will actively be implanting things into these supply chains. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? I wouldn't go anywhere near anything that anyone's eating, drinking, and sure as hell medicines, no way. I'd be nowhere near it. I'm building a life raft, and it's actually a life raft for West Australia, if they jump on board. We can do analysis and find out whether these things are more efficient. I don't know. Based on my initial kind of thoughts, this could be crazy. This could be very, very large, very, very quickly. And I will do it. I will get it over the line. I'm hoping to keep it as Australian as I can. The Defence Force is to deal with the corrupt Australian government, the corrupt West Australian government right now. My hope would be to put an end to that corruption. A project like this can do that. It can restore vision to the state, to the people of the state that says, yes, you can get things over the line. You can work your ass off and get these projects done that connect a lot of dots, that fix a lot of things, and that should be where you're aiming, not at starting some stupid distribution company, drop shipping or some crap. That's not what business is. That's nonsense. We should segment our grants and assistance for we don't need more people doing those types of shit. Unless, of course, the one caveat would be if they're producing it themselves, if they're primary producers, if they're growing, and then they have small scale distribution, that's wonderful. But this import-export, wholesale drop shipping nonsense, no. Not even because I'm unhappy with China, but just because it's just the wrong message to send. It doesn't teach you anything. It won't prepare you to do anything larger. It doesn't really create jobs. It just creates rubbish, garbage. And so yeah, prepare for this every day. And I'm going to talk to Rita. I'm not talking to that other prick any time on earth. Will not refer to him. He's not an actual fucking human to me, because that's where he put me. He said I wasn't an actual human, so he's not. He's a filthy, interconnected web of pharmaceutical-driven fucking psychopaths. And I hope that he fucking gets the fuck off this fucking rock as quickly as he possibly can. So I've split up my opinion on the Labor Party. Yeah, you're all shit. You're all retarded, basically. As far as this is, you've all been susceptible to absolute corruption. But Rita, you're all right. You know? You're just surrounded by a bunch of fucking rabid fucking dogs that should be put down. But you're all right, Rita. I know where you're at. You're in construction, you're doing this thing, you're with the boys, you're doing this stuff, you're concerned about jobs. All good. You're concerned about the region, all those good things. We do need a TikTok. Not that TikTok. We need a Labour Liberal movement here. And you have supported a bunch of people, a bunch of families, and that is to be appreciated. But this is the same. I come from that world far more than I come from the other world. So I'm happy to do business with you. But I need the same support that you're going to give some fucking 14-year-old autistic kid. Because that probably was me. I have every single thing tied up in this concept. You have done absolutely nothing for it. It will bring you so much revenue it's not even funny. So where is my gift basket? And the funniest thing is like, do you actually not know where I am? Because that would be the most hilarious thing. If you don't know where I am, if I've been saying the things on here and you don't know where I am, then basically the government is void. The whole system is void. I haven't even tried to not be found. If that somehow actually is the case, that you don't actually know where I am, so you can't give me a gift basket. You couldn't bring me a car because you don't know where I am. Then, doesn't that just say the whole lot? It just, none of it makes sense. You can't justify any of your behaviour, which means that you can't prosecute me for anything. You have to just accept it as that I'm probably quite an ingenious, creative writer, and I've written one of the most beautiful, chilling, crazy, psychological, thriller, best-selling books, although I haven't actually written a book, but it's there as the same. It's basically the same. And even that you should be celebrating. I just don't feel... I hate not feeling comfortable where I am. I hate not feeling... because my children are here. And that is a form of torture. It's like... We've been talking about the Aboriginals and all these things, which we do. I'm so glad that we do and that we are exposing these things. But I'm in the same situation, but I'm trying to fix problems that your system made. And even then, there's no place to call home. There's nowhere to hang my hat. I feel like constantly on edge, having to defend what I consider to be the most sacred human rights. These human decisions to autonomously move through your environment. This is stagnation, not by economic means, but by design. This boomer generation has created an impenetrable bubble that I understand, yes, for your concerns, it is working because you've built a concentration camp of ideas and you're keeping the bad ideas in there and you're not letting the good ideas in. And what that does to the government, it exposes it to replacement. And that's what I talk about when I say we're Labor land. Yep, draw a little circle around we're Labor land because there's nothing at all I will ever need from that shithole. Except maybe employees, but then they're leaving Labor land to go and work. What type of message does that send? They're already doing that. How do these mining companies, Kerry and Andrew and Gina, why don't we put some pressure on Labor land to become a place and let's change some rates and things like that so that we're not paying the same amounts? Because Labor land is not doing what is in the best interest, and you're leaving that region in order to work. We could change the tax rates. Why should someone be taxed in this thing to supply all these things. Say you're a dad, you're a father, and you go up and work on one of the mines, and then you come back. Why are you paying tax so all this shit can get done? All this stuff you don't use. You're not using the majority of the time. Your children are using it and your wife's using it. And if she gets fucking shit at you, she's going to fucking call the police and put you in fucking jail for sharing a photo. It's like, what system are you creating there? It's all nonsense. The reason you need all this police state is because the men aren't here. Because the men are up working up there. And they're paying for the system that does this. When there's men there, let's say I'm on a suburban street here. There's probably 20 men on this street. 20 men can fucking deal with pretty much anything. If they need be. If there's a commotion, well, this is what it used to be like, then there would be 20 men there. But now there isn't. So it's like a big daycare centre. And look what happens at daycare centres that are controlled by the government. You think this fucking young guy doing the horrific things that he's done to fucking children, that's going on at all levels in all different ways. It doesn't stop there. This is communism. The police mistreating me, that's them. That's the same effect. A hospital mistreating me, same effect. It doesn't work. I don't want any of it. I want to be able to establish a business that produces something that actually is needed in Europe, which is heat and energy and power. I want to close the loops that should have been closed a long time ago if it wasn't for this offshoot mentality. This mutineer's paradise. I don't look at the United States as a good example. I look at it as the bad example. And so I'm trying to create a world where, hey, we go, I want to show what happens if the United States didn't mutiny. If it understood its connection, if it understood what was going on in England that it didn't like. You want to go crazy and not have restrictions, not have these things, then go to fucking some shithole, third world country. Don't build it here. So yeah, day 2. Prepare for a never-ending onslaught in this. I'll tie every other thing up. I'll run the trials. I want to hear reasons as to why I'm being ignored again. I haven't mentioned one thing really about anything that's happened in the last couple of years to do with your mistakes. I don't need to continue on. You have produced me. I'm a product of your system. So why aren't you utilising that? Why am I constantly in a thing where I'm on the verge of leaving? That's not a nice environment for anyone involved, for my children, for my partner, for anything. Just purely because I'm interacting with it and I'm seeing that it is not actually doing what it's saying it's doing. It's not built to do what it says it's doing. It's not there as a place of opportunity. It's a place of restriction. And the thing is, it's like, this can go somewhere else. And you're not going to like that. You're not going to like if this goes to the one other place where this will work. You're not going to like it at all. So don't pass up something because it is on record. There will be a chain of actions that will expose who the individuals were that were responsible for. If I do have to relocate to somewhere else, if I do have to take this to somewhere else, then everyone will know what happened. So let's get some answers. And if you don't know where I am, have the humility to say, hey Shannon, we want to give you this car, but we just don't know where you are. Say that. Shannon, we'd love to hear more about this. Here's a grant. Here's an initial grant to do a trial. Shannon, Shannon, here, whatever the fuck it is. That's how we should be working. If you can't understand my tone, that I'm really pissed off, that I'm done being civil, that this is as nice as you're going to get, because you've done horrific things in this state. Maybe not you individually, but your system has done horrific things and has continued to, and has lied about it and has pretended that it hasn't. That's the worst. I've had 5 kids in my care during my life, and that is the worst thing. When a kid does something really bad and they won't admit it, when they won't go there, that's it. That's like the most frustrating, most disrespectful thing there is. We need to start opening up the future here, and that looks a lot less on screens. There's a lot less computing involved in the future because the computing has distracted us from concepts like this. My concept doesn't have anything to do with computers, bar the administration and stock tech and stuff like that. It could be done with an abacus, and it wouldn't make a difference. The computing revolution has distracted us. It does have some things that are wonderful, but let's see, because this is computing. So if this isn't going to work, then nothing else on top of it is going to work. If a human being in the area, half an hour away from all of you, can't get a project off the ground that's this simple, that is this wonderful, that fixes this many problems, that has nothing to do with computing, via a computer platform, then where are we at? Why is there billions of dollars being spent in it? It's not going to work. It's just another system to keep people out. And before you kind of criticise as well what this is, try and do this. Do a video in the morning and go, how would I approach a video outward when there's no reply, there's no response? You've got to kind of pad all the walls to prepare and to think about what all the objections might be. That's what I'm doing constantly. That's why my concepts will always be polished when I present them. So thank you for that, I guess. You've turned me into a fucking superhero. But you don't want to lose that superhero, do you? You know what I mean? And don't underestimate it. It'll be like that. I'll leave. I won't fucking bother with a passport. So don't think that the passport's your little early warning system. I will get the fuck off this rock. And the moment I'm off this rock, with all of this going on, the Australian dollar will fucking go to fucking zero. So yeah, just some communication would be nice. Some acknowledgement directly. It's time to break the bubble. It's time to say, yes, okay. Yes, I can see how it would be torturous to be talking to a fucking wall for a long fucking time.